Authorities continue to call for an independent investigation into an airstrike on a migrant center in the outskirts of the capital, Tripoli. The toll from Tuesday's hit rose to 53 dead, with more than 130 injured, according to UN aid agencies. The organizations are pressing for the closure of all such facilities in the country as warring parties refuse to back down from a raging conflict. CGTN's Asta reports.
The United Nations says they're still not able to verify who is responsible for this week's airstrike that hit a migrant detention center on the outskirts of Tripoli, even as the Libyan UN-backed government pointed fingers at a foreign nation.
There needs to be this independent investigation. What we can say is at this point there does need to be greater efforts, far greater efforts from the international community, particularly amongst those states that have leverage over the warring parties, to bring an end to the violence, to bring them together to the negotiating table and to establish a political dialogue that brings an end to these clashes.
Reiterating its appeal for the closure of such facilities in Libya, they say that the survivors of the ordeal remain severely traumatized. The Libyan government has also voiced readiness to close such migrant centers. Children are said to have been among the fatalities at the Taj Ura site.
53 migrants are confirmed dead, among them 6 children, following Tuesday's airstrike on the Tajura detention center. Over 130 people were injured. The more than 600 migrants detained at Tajura represented at least 17 different nationalities, mainly African.
Reiterate once again that the coordinates of these detention centers in Tripoli are well known to both sides of the conflict, and this was a preventable tragedy that never should have happened.
Reports that guards had fired on migrants trying to flee remain unverified. About 350 migrants are still sheltering at the center. The facility initially held approximately 600 people. According to authorities, 3,300 migrants and refugees are detained inside and around Tripoli. In addition to the Taj Ura tragedy, the International Organization for Migration also confirmed that more than 80 migrants are feared drowned after their boat capsized while trying to reach Europe from the Libyan port of Zuwara.
The survivors told IOM staff that the inflatable boat carrying 86 people, including 4 women and 2 children, left Zuwara around 6 a.m. on 1st of July. A few hours later, the boat began to leak and capsized due to the confusion and frantic movements of dozens of people on board.
So far this year, the UN Migration Agency has reported 426 people have drowned while attempting to reach Europe through the central Mediterranean route. About 3,750 have been returned to detention, where they remain at risk as clashes continue to rage in Libya's capital, Tripoli. Asta, CGTN.